Hey guys, welcome to episode 79 of 4PlayerAnimecast. I am your host, Spire. It is the 28th of July. The sun's out, heat waves running across the earth, just everybody dying, dropping like flies, but we're in here, in your Twitch stream, talking about summer 2018 anime, and we have a long road ahead of us, so sit tight. And here we go again. I am Spire, and here are my compatriots, Nier.
Hello.
Dark.
Hey.
And Toast. Toast is dead.
It's not that hot. It's 70 degrees here.
Whoa.
70,
it might be hotter in other places.
But I don't live there, so why do I care?
Because the heat wave in Japan's an epidemic, man. All right?
Toast is not
Without that, we don't have a pod yet.
Toast is not a citizen of the world, so to say, right?
But did you hear about that one thing where the people in London were having heat stroke when it was 23 degrees Celsius? And I looked it up, that's 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. You guys are lightweight.
Yeah, but anyways, what have you been up to?
What have you been up to?
Okay, I'll Nier, actually, no, you go first. Fuck it, because I.
What?
What have you been up to, Nier?
Not much. I've been practicing Guilty Gear a lot.
You. Well, I'm not gonna mention what happened, but yeah, you've been up to some Guilty Gear.
Yeah,
Nier, what is your favorite anime?
Well, shut up. I've been watching some pretty old anime.
How old? What era of anime are we talking about?
Like Big Bang era, I guess. I don't fucking know. But some Urusei Yatsura.
Wow, that is pretty Big Bang.
Some Ace wo Narai. You know, the classics, right? Going back to the roots. Other than that, I watched the whopping 2 episodes that are out for Sirius the Jaeger. Because fan subbing is dead.
Fan subbing is dead.
there's no other episode subtitled, and yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm going to be watching the One Fest releases.
That's good.
Podcast because One Fest just started.
Yeah, okay. So that's good. One Fest, if you guys don't know, it's just a it's like a large Japanese convention that kind of where a lot of common figurine brands and stuff like that, but not just figurine brands, a lot of other stuff too, all kind of come together and just, I guess, display their products, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it has a lot of good stuff. So if you are into buying anime figures and so on, just check it out.
Nier, are you going to do a reaction video?
No, that's gay.
Are you sure? Anime Intensity has a 16-minute reaction video on the One Fest Winter 28 anime figures. You should check it out.
No, I'll pass.
Anyways.
Spire, what have you been up to?
Yeah.
I'm taking over.
Yeah, I've been kind of doing here and there. I've had a lot of sort of guilty pleasures in the last 2 weeks. I finished some Nekonin kind of stuff. There are other visual novels that I'm actually planning on reading, but I finished Nekonin, the one that came out recently, and I was like, I'm okay with reading this, but I feel pretty bad about it. So
why would you feel bad about it? Is it not your ninja way?
I enjoyed it. I just feel bad about.
Why do you feel bad about it?
I don't know. It's just subtle feeling.
Were you doing something that you're not supposed to be doing?
Yes, all the illegal things. But other than that, I've watched a couple of anime series. Again, this season is actually relatively packed, so I need to kind of hurry up my pace. But other than that, it's been a pretty quiet 2 weeks. I've been kind of busy and also doing some other stuff. So that's the usual. Again, doing my usual light novel / web novel kind of slog every day. So that's been a thing on the side. But other than that, it's been pretty standard. Dark?
Shit. I don't know, man. I've just been like kind of keeping up with stuff. Pretty much it.
Okay.
Playing some PSO2.
What's PSO2?
That game is okay. A game that the glorious people in Nippon won't let me play legally.
Yes, they do though.
Um,
They're like, you can play, but we're not gonna help you because we don't speak English.
Yeah.
No, they're more like, we're just gonna ignore everything about that because they can't say that we can play because they'd get into a lot of legal trouble if they did. Reminder, can't actually allow people from other countries to play your games if you don't actually pay for the licenses in other countries. You can't just like have it be a free-for-all. I don't think. I'm pretty sure there's a legal thing where you have to actively show that you don't support that. So technically, they can and might ban you, but they don't.
But what do you think episode 5 is about? You think that was Japanese influence?
Yeah, because I do actually. What Toast is talking about is talking about episode 5 in PSO2, which is essentially the quote-unquote like new expansion type thing, and it's all the typical bastardization.
It's an isekai.
Yeah, it's the bastardization of Western fantasy. Yet again, we haven't seen that, right? Western fantasy, but from like the Japanese, so it's somehow worse. Yeah, great, good time, great game.
Anyways, that's good. And Toast.
Hello. What?
Hello.
What have you been up to?
Why? Thank you for asking. I watched Fate Last Encore two more times for a total of 3 times now.
Okay.
and now I can give a proper review on it, but I'm not going to yet.
Okay.
Because it's not done yet.
All right.
Also, I watched the live stream of what's it? Rutoniki? I don't know. If you guys, it's the guy who does the feet. He drew Ophelia, Famine, Salami.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, dude.
He did a live stream of drawing the eye patch.
Do you want to link me something?
The eye patch lady from Grand Order, the Lost Belt. Here.
Do you know what he's talking about?
He drew
I
the
do,
feet.
but I don't know why he's talking about this.
But he drew the feet. It was nice watching it on live stream.
Yeah,
all right.
most Pixiv artists do live streams now, believe it or not. When Pixiv implements a feature to live stream on Pixiv, the artists on Pixiv stream on Pixiv. It's crazy.
Speaking of feet, if Sunday is like the head/start of the week.
How many times are you gonna say this?
Until you answer the question.
Shut up. No one calls it that.
Does that mean Saturday is the feet of the week?
No one has ever.
There's no answer to that question.
Then what do you call the end of the week? The butthole?
The end of the week.
So that is the feet of the week. If you go from head to toe.
Can we go on?
What else did I watch? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways. Dark, do you want to start us off?
Fuck, dude. I don't even like.
I'm gonna blame Toast on this. I don't know what else to say.
I'm like not prepared at all right now. Yeah, sure, why not?
No,
I watched.
if you're
Nope, that's fine.
all
It's
right.
fine. I'll do it. I'll do it. I don't want to risk anything else. Yeah. So my show that I'll cover is Asobi Asobase. And yeah, so Toast will have a graphic up of that at some point in time, I hope.
So what is
so
the
the basic,
what is the Asobi?
Yeah, so the basic premise, though honestly everything about it is bleeding, so it's kind of hard to really explain it, is that there's three main characters, and they're in an all-girl school, and one of them is pretending to be an American because her parents are foreigners. And then,
is that you?
yeah, man, you know me, the blonde hair, blue eyes, and everything. So yeah, and then the character on the far left, if you see the stream graphic, is really bad at English. So she wants to make essentially an English club where she can study English with the believed to be American character who doesn't actually know any English whatsoever. And then the other character, Hanako, just wants to be popular, but she's a huge nerd. So she wants to join the club because she wants to make it sound like there's a lot of really popular people who have a lot of fun in the club, even though there's no one else in the club. And so a lot of it is just them getting into shenanigans. The first episode is just like kind of establishing the club through playing like hand games. It's described in a lot of places I've seen as like that the premise is hand games, but it's really not. Because there's a lot more. It's a lot of just games and trivia in general. Like they play Othello at one point.
They call it the Pastimes Club, right? Something like that.
Yeah, Pastimers.
Yeah,
they call it the Pastime Club. They don't sound as popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's just in general like a series of pastime. Because it was the general setup was supposed to be that one of the characters teaches the American character Japanese pastimes, even though she's Japanese, and then in return she teaches her English, even though she doesn't know any English. That is quickly dissolved though, which kind of threw me for a loop.
Okay.
In episode 2, like
the premise doesn't actually like matter.
It's very episodic, right?
Yeah, this is definitely it's a very surrealist comedy episodic thing where they just
Is it like plastic Nissan?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's actually probably the most direct comparison I could possibly make. It's pretty much like plastic Nissan, but it's an actual like full length episode thing. Because if you remember, Plastic Nissan was like a short, and it would only do like one thing at a time. So this one packs, I guess, multiple chapters into each episode. So
yeah, I believe 3. It's like 3 chapters per episode. And they actually have like the cuts.
So who's the plastic and who's the Nissan character?
You're gonna have to answer that one, Nir, because I've never seen it.
If by Nissan you're referring to the black-haired one, probably the one with the glasses.
Okay.
And if plastic you're referring to the chibi one that was like, you know, putting bags between her legs, it'll probably be what's her name? The one with the twin tails, honestly. She's one of the weirder ones. But yeah.
Alright. I wakata that.
Yeah, sure.
But anyways, I was actually I was actually thinking. Well, I haven't seen it myself yet, actually. Although I do really, really want to. But is it? So it's like, I guess again, it's surrealism. It's a little bit of the slapstick and whatever. Is it more of the slapstick focus, or is it like dialogue focus, or what's going on?
I'd say it's got a pretty good split, to
Okay.
be honest.
Well, I mean, I've only seen episode 1, so my the impression I got was a little bit more dialogue focused, but it's pretty slapstick. Like the skit where they're in the club and they're playing in this like little kiddie pool,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one character is like, "Oh, your boobs are so big," and they start like splashing around, like groping her and stuff, and then the water from the pool slips under the clubroom door, and the principal is walking by and he sees the water under the door, and he's like, is everything okay in there?
Mm-hmm.
And to avoid getting in trouble by like playing in the pool in the school and to like prevent being seen in their swimsuits and stuff, they like
Mm-hmm.
they say, oh, the blonde girl peed herself, right? And the principal's like, oh no, and then he looks back at the water and he's like, but it's clear. And then he goes, and then he's like, I guess there's only one way to tell. And he tastes it.
God, yeah.
He sees the ghost of
Yeah, he
what's his name? Detective Conan.
Yeah, he sees the ghost of Detective Conan, and he's like, there's only one way to find out the truth, right? And he tastes it, and then he's like, that's not pee. And then he's like, I'm very disappointed you girls would lie to me. So it's a pretty even split, but yeah, it's quite slapstick.
Okay, that's good. Is there
So you're saying they were playing water sports indoors?
No.
So how much how much focus are they doing to any sort of like introspection or retrospection, like sort of slight development over time of like the blonde girl or like the general sort of like interactions or relationships?
How
American is the blonde girl? Is what he's asking.
0, because she's not. She's born in Japan and Japanese, but her parents are foreigners.
Anyways, keep going.
But anyhow.
But Dark, wouldn't you argue? Is this another nature versus nurture thing, where it doesn't matter where you're born, it's where you're from?
What the hell are you talking about?
It doesn't matter where you're born, it's where you're from. Yeah, dude, that's how.
What are you talking
about? Okay. You said the same thing twice.
I'm just asking you. I'm just asking you as the only foreigner of this group.
What?
Can you relate to
what are you talking?
What are you
relate to the blonde
saying?
First of all,
is Dark a European? Do you think him out of this podcast? What's that?
I mean, first of all, if there was a foreigner, it would be Nier, because
he's Canadian. Yeah, he's actually Canadian.
If you mean the only
Nier
person
European
who isn't Asian on the podcast,
so you're saying Nier
that's true.
Nier is the blonde girl of the podcast?
No, I think Dark actually is the one with the blonde hair.
Well, you see my point then.
No, I don't.
No.
Okay. Anyway, I don't even know what brought that up anymore, but
So she doesn't have any American mannerisms?
No, because she's not American. She has never been to America. She does not speak English. She doesn't know anything about the United States.
We should take her there.
There you go.
The joke.
That would be a joke used in episode 1. But anyway, as far as character development goes, there is some. There's like a little bit of development. there's not like a ton of introspection really, but it's more of like they still have the same sort of like quirks and like interactions by episode 3. Like they still run sort of similar loops where like they eliminate the English thing, obviously, because you can't have that anymore because they know by episode 3.
Is that a shout out to Crunchyroll?
Yeah, dude. But they continue with Hanako's like obsession with being popular, but also being an otaku at the same time.
Right.
They do continue with one of the other ideas that the girl with the glasses doesn't like playing for sort of like rewards for the others because her sister like would always beat her at games, force her to do something, like go out and like buy stuff. They do still continue with like what's her name being a more like outspoken-ish character. That just kind of gets wrapped up in things though, Olivia, but also with her being sort of like her interaction with Hanako being that Olivia has like a lot of quote unquote like popular shit, like does popular girl stuff. But yeah, so in that respect, they don't do like that. Those interactions sort of develop more, it seems, by an episode basis rather than the characters themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have like more dialogue that, like, as they become closer friends, they kind of figure out and have more things to say. But that's pretty much as far as that goes. There's not like a huge amount of actual development though, or like time spent on development. It's more of just like character interactions, and then like the next episode, there's a little bit more there in a way.
Okay.
A bit of a deeper interaction and joke.
And you can kind of get and they're more like references to like their personalities as like part of the joke rather than just like what's happening on surface, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and they also have more like over time. It seems that since they're becoming closer friends, since they just met in episode 1, but then it's like been a few weeks by episode 2 and 3, they have more like sort of like inline goals and are like getting wrapped up in more of like each other's shenanigans over time. So pretty much it for that though.
Okay, so that'll be pretty enjoyable to watch. I think definitely one of the more I don't want to say refreshing, but like a good boost to the comedy series repertoire that we've had in a while. So
you're saying nice. It's not very kimochi of you?
What?
Yeah, man. Sure. I will say the OP and ED I like a lot. I like the ED quite a bit. There's all the voice actors in the show, save for I think the female teachers, are newcomers or relatively newcomers. I think one character, I think Olivia's character has only had one other role, and that was in Frame Arms Girls.
Which one was she?
She was Baselard.
Oh.
The Glasses Girl, I think that might be like her first role, and then Hanako's character has had, I think, one other. But it's all been in the past like couple of years.
Yeah, so these are all like people, so it'll be definitely. I think Kohara, I believe Kohara Konomi has had a decent amount of roles and stuff like that. She's been like I just said in the past couple of years, but she's gotten a decent amount of like pretty strong, I believe, supporting roles. Karakaijo's Kage-san, I believe Mahoka. Tsuki Akira, she did like the main role. She did a lot. She's done a lot of like supporting like radio stuff and like so on for these other shows as well, like Mahoka and Takagi-san. So it'll be other than her. I mean, she's sort of a newcomer too, although it's been a couple of years. But it's like,
that's why like I'll say like she's relatively.
Yeah, she's not like
her
she's
in
not like a
specific-
fucking Nakori kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But it's like,
she's new, but she's had obviously more roles.
yeah. But yeah, it's definitely
And
gonna
that's pretty
be.
much her for the whole show, which is interesting because there's also a woman who this is only her second major role in a show, and she's like, I think she's 60, and her
Yeah.
only other role of note recently, and I think she only has like one or two others, was the grandmother in Sakura Quest, which I didn't know she was a newcomer because she was really, but she has had roles in stuff.
Yeah,
So.
she might be doing some voiceovers for like other stuff like advertisements, so on and stuff like. But yeah, it's a lot of new blood in this. Definitely watching out for this one.
She's not the Masako of her time, huh?
Well, it's a little bit hard.
I'd say my final comment on this, and I kind of want to hear a little bit, I guess, from Nier as well, is audio visuals wise, because like I think another major thing is the style changes. And I guess you didn't see two. I mean, you saw them in episode 1. Episode 2 continues it and does some really interesting ones, as well as episode 3, for like a comedic cut into a different style, like art style. And I think my only complaint really would be that the soundtrack really likes to use that one like rock song or whatever, like whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
Near with like the heavy drums and shit.
Yeah.
It uses that quite frequently in every episode. So.
Okay. Nier, any last words?
Before we throw you out of America.
I don't know. In regards to the audio visuals, the style is certainly like unique, but I don't know. The lines are kind of weird. The colors are very I don't want to say washed out, but they're like almost washed out. You know,
muted pastel.
They're real bright. They're real they're not
very
vibrant, but they're very like.
Yeah,
they're very bright.
It's a weird aesthetic. And there's like there's kind of a weird filter over the whole thing that I guess kind of makes it look more cartoony or whatever. I don't know. I don't really know what kind of aesthetic they were going for. Maybe like a painted pastel something. I'm not too sure.
Like a storybook thing.
Yeah, kind of. So the style is certainly unique, but I don't know if they really nailed it the way they wanted to. There's some cute visual gags in there, like the end. I don't know if they continue the gag, but at the end of episode 1, they do like a thing with hand puppets and stuff.
Yeah, that is a thing that they do at the end of every episode. Is a little
pretty cute.
Short.
But yeah, I think this show is pretty charming. You know, I think if you really liked Plastic Nason, I think if you really like Nichijou,
ooh, that's a fucking He's just
saying if you really liked it, all right?
Yeah,
He's not.
I'm not saying I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yo, it's better than Nichijou.
No. What I'm saying, I wasn't criticizing you. I said that is like a dogma. So you realize this, right?
Yeah,
I know. Here, what about?
You're like this thing could be like Nichijou. And I'm just gonna like fucking start swimming across your fucking.
Is this the Nichijou of our generation?
I'm like swimming across the Pacific to get to this series.
What about what's it called? TQ. Is this
no. No.
This,
I don't think that's how it works.
This has like
actual artistic directors.
This has a couple more brain cells than Nichijou, you know.
And like $50 more involved.
Wow. This man just confused Nichijou with TQ. Holy shit.
Sorry, toast is melting my brain right now.
Keep going.
But yeah, if you liked Plastic Nason and Nichijou, I think the humor is similar, comparable.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely gonna watch it then.
There's nothing that quite tops Nichijou.
No, I'm not. I was.
You know, it's
what about Denshi Kokosei or Lucky Star or Azumagadayo.
Well, the thing is, it's like
it's very different than
I think the comparison to High School Boys is probably a good one. I don't know about Lucky Star and Azumagadayo.
yeah, a lot of the thing is, it's
What about Pony Pony Dash?
All right, let's move on. Anyways, let's move on. Again, thank you, Nier and Dark, for helping cover the series. I'm definitely gonna watch it. And if you like, a comedy series, I think this is one of the better ones we've seen in the past couple of seasons. So please do check it out. Anyways, moving on to the next one. I'll start off, I guess. Actually, no. I want to save mine for a little bit later because it might end up being long. Toast, do you want to cover yours?
Not really.
Okay, Nier.
You already went.
He doesn't have anything.
All right, okay.
Stop calling out Nier. Leave him alone just because he's from Canada.
Old stuff, dude. I'm watching the real, back when anime was good,
You mean ancient?
Back when anime was metal and not anime. Okay.
Yeah. Nier is an ancient otaku now.
Yeah.
Legend otaku.
I'm an OG gamer,
Legend otaku. Toast, go ahead.
What? Oh, fine. I see what you... Speaking of a comedy series with girls in it, I watched a show. It's called Grand Blue. Not related to the mobile game, but something else entirely.
You okay?
He's panting for time right now, apparently.
Yeah, I am panting for time while I put up this picture.
Oh my! That's actually the picture you're about to use right now.
Sure. I'm trying to find one with like all the characters, but
I don't know why you didn't have one beforehand.
Yeah, I don't.
Alright, here, fine. I did have a backup. If you don't.
I literally just Googled the name and already found a picture with all the characters with the right dimension.
Toast, please. All right.
Oh no, my OBS is crashing. What'd you do? There we go.
What the fuck?
All right. I watched Grand Blue.
Grand Blue, okay.
It's made by the dude who made Pocket Test. You guys like that one, right?
It is?
Yes.
Kenji Inoue, okay.
But you know what Pocket Test is? It's licensed by Funimation as an English dub. They sell DVDs of it.
That's what it is.
It's alright.
That's all it is, man.
Anyway, keep going.
It's about this dude who's like in mechanical engineering club, and he's all like, "This is lame. I'm gonna do something else." So he goes to his uncle's not bass fishing shop. He goes to his uncle's, what's it called? Diving shop? Is it called a diving shop?
Yeah, it's a diving shop. It's for divers.
It's called
diving materials.
It's called Grand Blue, and he's all like, "All right, I'll do this." But not everything is as what it seems. Cause he goes
as it seems.
He goes in like
he opens the door and sees a guy standing fucking naked in front of him.
But you don't dive naked. That's hazardous.
No, but I'm saying like it's pretty as it seems.
Not everything is as it seems.
Much deception.
He thinks he's going to have a really quiet life, a nice jinsei over here, but then some naked dude starts doing stuff to him, and he's all like, "Wow, this is kind of cool."
Yeah, dude.
That's exactly the series, yes.
So it chronicles his adventures of him and the diving club doing cool things.
Toast, please give like a short, brief, and accurate synopsis so we don't have to cover this again the next episode, okay? Because I feel like we were always going to have to cover this again. Just all right. Give me.
There's this other like diving series that I can't remember the name of that I could have related to. It's by the guy who made Sankarea.
Yeah, it's
Amanchu?
it's just like Amanchu.
Is
it?
If Amanchu main cast was
Nothing like
Four college guys play rock, paper, scissors naked to see who has to get the diving gear out.
What are we even talking? Okay, tell us. Okay,
Umi Show, that's it. I looked it up. It's like Umi Show. You guys read Umi Show? No?
No.
It was made in 2005, so it's...
Tell us, can I ask
part
something?
of the ancient anime.
Can I ask something?
Anyway.
What sort of demographic or what sort of like people? What sort of genre is it sort of trying to reach out to? Red and Blue, if you had to describe it in like a couple of sentences.
You guys like free?
Is it like free?
No, it's not.
No,
That's
not like
free.
free.
Then
It's
why did
like-
you mention it?
Bakatute, all guys. And not
okay,
all guys.
if you're pulling that out of me already instead of me making this sweet analogy to free and Umi Show, then
Well,
all right.
apparently,
We're
if
gonna
I
start
don't
now.
fish it out of you, we're gonna be here for a while.
Because I was gonna talk about Umi Show, and it's an old series about this
Okay,
dude.
we're not talking about Umi Show.
Oh my god, what the fuck's actually going on?
Fine.
Anyways,
It's like Dark's pulling it out of there. It's it's like back at the test, but more about the dudes than anything else.
Toast is getting dragged
So I'll
away by
take
the
Toast.
by the SWAT team.
Toast is going diving right now, so
Yeah. Okay, this is a fucking disaster.
I guess
Dark,
I'll
can
take
can
it from
yeah,
here, man.
Please take over.
all right. So here's the thing: do you like Bakatute test? Okay, well, this is like that,
Hello?
except
Did
the
you hear me?
girls are less significant.
Yeah, we can hear you.
As a matter of fact, they even have two main heroines from the beginning. Both, I believe, are the main character's cousins. Haha! Wow. Yikes, huh? Big yikes from me.
Now I'm interested.
Big yikes from me.
But at the
How do
same
you feel
time,
about
you know how Bakuto Test had
No,
strong female characters like the pink girl and the flat girl and the yandere girl and
Well, that's the thing, is that in a way those characters are technically mirroring them. Now, how far we're gonna go with love interests as them, I guess, is to be seen. As of episode 1, I think it was that the main character lost all. It was pretty much that she lost all respect for him for him because she saw that he was getting wrapped up in the bullshit that the other guys were a part of. With drinking and stuff, so, and just showing up to places naked. So yeah, so it's more of like, I think he's just trying to get respect back as of right now. So we're starting real low on the totem pole. But how far we'll get, who knows?
so the main character is the weird colored hair dude. What is that, like sea green? Is that the color?
Blue, yeah, it's a blue-green.
What an ugly color.
Oh, okay.
He's part of the mechanical engineering club. Or
We're
something?
starting from here again?
Okay, keep going, Dark. Dark, keep going.
And he's all like, I'm trying to introduce the main characters.
Shut up!
You just
Toast,
did!
Shut up!
With that exact
Alright,
line!
all you
As
need.
a matter of fact,
I'm trying to
seriously,
draw
seriously.
parallels to
We
the other
don't-
characters
we
in Bakuto
need-
Test.
don't need any more parallels to Bakatute Test. It is
Okay.
almost the... Well, actually, no, it's not really.
It's more. There's less focus on rom-com. I'm assuming.
It's more wacky hijinks with the swimming
Yeah.
club. In
With
fact,
with the boys essentially.
But the female characters are also in the swimming club. It's just that they don't have much presence in the show itself.
Yeah,
which
they're not pairing up like Bakuto Test did.
they don't
They
join in.
do they focus on the pairings? Because Bakuto Test has a heavy focus on the pairing, right? So
They're more.
Well,
they're,
I
instead
think
of
the only
being-
real pairing that's going to happen is the main character and the one on the far left. The
okay.
like more boyish character. I think that's like the only actual potential for a pairing we really have.
Okay.
But you could say that you could have taken the female characters completely out of this, and the show would have mostly remained the same.
Yeah, that is the issue, is that like Toast was saying before, that the female characters don't have really much to do with a lot.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be many jokes in which they're directly like involved with either. Like there was a lot in Bucket's test.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to give some examples, Toast, or an example.
Please.
Just elaborate a little bit. Don't go too far.
What?
You know?
Of what?
Of like how would you say that the characters in this compare to like Bucket test and how they're used, like and how they interact with the jokes, rather than how they interact with the jokes and add to it in Bucket test.
In Baka Test, it's more like we're gonna do these wacky hijinks because we're boys, and we're gonna tease the girls this way, and the girls are like, oh, you, but they're also part of the group, and they have some sort of like presence there. In this one, it's more like we're guys, we're gonna do whatever we want, even if the girls aren't involved, and it's like, why do you even have girls in the first place? Gender equality? I don't know.
Is there? Because I've only seen episode 1. Because Bakuji Test did have episodes where it was like predominantly the female characters.
Yeah.
And them just doing like sort of their own thing.
There's
this
like,
one hasn't yet.
This one, the long-haired girl is the cousin. She's all like, "Oh, I'm a ciscon, whatever, and I got a nice butt," and it's like, that's okay, sure, but I don't really care about that kind of thing. Where the Baka test, it's like the full episode. They got their own dynamic and whatnot. This one, not so much. Like I'm really seeing that the girls are just there. They don't have any presence. It's more. It's like Cromartie if you threw in some girls, I guess. More Cromartie than Baka test. If I had to compare the two.
Okay.
You don't like Cromartie? It's that level of humor, because in a way it's not, like you said, it's not rom-com. It's more just dudes doing dude things.
Did you say this is bro humor?
So
sure.
You know how there's sort of a.
Do you think girls drink a vodka like water, Dark? No.
I've experienced that on more than one occasion. Yes.
It's that kind of thing.
So what I'm kind of wondering is that often these series that have sort of this idea of, like they have this comedy stick and they have the cast that builds up, but then they also have like a counterbalancing sort of, like a larger theme or like some sort of like, scenery porn or some sort of thing that sort of relax tone of the series, right? It sort of goes like, oh, okay, it's like, oh, this is the bigger lesson, or oh, this is the thing that makes it look so like peaceful or whatever, right? What is is there a counterbalance? And if so, what is that sort of counterbalance in the series? So it's like, is it oh, he goes into diving and then like after they goof around and then they actually experience diving and then they're like, oh my god, look at all this, and it's like scenery porn, or is it some sort of like friendship, like just enjoy your life when you can, or some carpe diem kind of stuff? What is the counterbalance, if any?
What? You said too many words.
What?
Exactly.
What?
What?
It's more slice of life thing. It's just them hanging out.
So at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, this is peaceful. It's like kind of like enjoy your youth, do what you can kind of thing. Is there like a bigger moral lesson they're trying to push? Is it just based around? Is like a lot of the relaxation at the end of the episode based around scenery porn?
It's not really that focused on diving. It's just, as you would say, it's just a medium from which their antics go through because it's summer in the sea.
So they're not focusing on anything super big like, oh, look at friendship, blah blah blah. It's just like, just chill out and just relax and have fun kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would say that it's no.
Yeah. Huh? Go on. Well, I was gonna say.
All right, go ahead.
Shit.
Yeah, okay, Dark.
Yeah, because if it was to be focusing on it more of like the concept of, because one of the reasons why the main character was reluctant to begin with the whole group was that he was saying things like, I was a part of, like, I went to an all boys high school and it was like a lot of bullshit like this, and it's like I want to have like a more calm life and I don't want to be involved in this. But then it's like he gets wrapped up in it. It's like, well, if this is like how you're gonna have fun, then whatever, like that's how you have fun.
Right.
You may as well. It's the like Toast was saying. It's like it's the summer and they're doing summer shit. So you know, why not? Like if there was any sort of message, it would be like that sort of thing. Like don't try and really overthink having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a lot of things that aren't as big of a deal as like the main character makes it out to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this is where I would say, since it's more slice of life and slapstick, it's unlike another swimming manga that I read, which is throwing back to Umi's show, where there's this dude, he doesn't like swimming, but he gets caught up in it, and that one's more. That one also has more slapstick humor, but it's also more focused about the nature of swimming and this chick who really likes swimming, that kind of thing.
Mm.
But yeah, sure.
Okay.
Take out the girls from Grand Blue. They're useless.
Okay.
I mean, but you could also say
Wow.
I disavow.
that might be a result of the author's.
Authors what? Authors what?
How do I say this?
Spire sweating.
Evolution in storytelling.
Evolution.
Wow, are you telling me that the evolution of storytelling is to remove female characters? In 2018, you're saying these words?
You could. Do you remember like?
It's because they're not as good at development.
Do you remember the later episodes of Bakuto Test where it was mostly Akisa and Yuji's antics on Mutsurini, and the girls took a side? Well,
Mutsurini had his things, but it's like it was mainly focused on his pairing, not his like what he did. But in that sense, Mutsurini was almost always sort of like the part of you. He was always used as part of the joke, right? He was never like, oh, here's like a side story where Mutsurini does stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that actually never happened.
Yeah. But
what I'm
anyways,
saying is it's more focused on Akihisa's and Yuji's antics later on in the series.
I do get
the girls
what you're
took a
saying.
back seat, but you can see the pairing that happens.
That I don't think ever happens in Bakuto Test.
Let me shut up. I'm explaining.
Okay, keep going. Okay.
Because when they do their antics and something bad happens, then the girls are there to reprimand them, and that's their part. They're the tsukomi to their bokeh. So they have a presence, and they're what matters, because someone needs to stop them from whenever they do their crazy antics. In this one, the girls don't have that attitude, if you know what I mean. Their presence isn't as strong because they themselves aren't being a tsukomi to the antics of the boys.
Okay.
And that's their problem. They should do more of that stuff.
Do you think it's an actual problem that they are not at a bounce at all? Because that may be what the author is just trying to do, right? Just have it be more crazy than. But that's the part.
But they're also not playing a role in it, though.
Yeah, I think the idea of I think what Toast wants them to do, and it's understandable why Toast says this, is that he wants them to just play more of a role in general, whether it's that sort of balance or even whether it's going along for the ride in the same way, or like helping to kind of pour oil on fire kind of stuff. But whether it's that or whether it's balancing, have more of a role, have more of a influence in the story, I guess, is what Toast wants.
But
right?
that does not really detract from the story too much. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Bakuto Test where you have rom-com stuff. This is a different thing in general.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's more like Cromartie, Danchiko Kosei no Nichijou, heck, even Prison School. You could say that it's more boy humor-ish.
Okay.
Doing crazy
no,
things.
I can get that.
Which it's fine in its own way. It's still really funny if you like that kind of thing.
Okay.
But comparing it to his previous work, Bakuto Test, that's where I do have to say that the female characters don't play as an important role, and you could just take them out entirely, and nothing would really be.
Yeah, I think also he was a little bit with Bakuto Test. I think in the light novel at least, it was he was at a slight loss at what to do with the monster he had created, because he had kind of ended up he had like the pairings, but he also had the sort of like harem rom-com. So he was kind of like confused as to like, oh, how do I resolve this? And I want to say that the ending of Bakuto Test, the resolution wasn't great, and the ending sort of adventure that they had also wasn't that great. So I think this time he wants to be done with all. He doesn't want any more like random arcs that he super has to resolve. He doesn't want any like random like harem stuff that he pretty much has to resolve. He doesn't want to deal with any of that. So that's maybe why he made Grand Blue the way it is. So
yes, but he also didn't set himself up for that. So like it kind of sucks that it's like they're still not playing a role anyway, because there would only be one potential love interest for the main character, and that well, I mean that is the one that's there already. It just depends on whether or not they do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I guess there's time to do it too.
Yeah. Okay.
They set it up to where it might maybe eventually it'll lead into a similar sort of thing like Tosa's saying with Bakuto Test and how they play off of each other, but not yet.
Yeah, I'm not saying this show's bad. It's definitely not bad. It's good. It's just if you're coming here thinking that it's like Bakuto Test, it's not. It's more Cromartie, Antikokosei, prison school, kind of thing. So don't misunderstand me, Baka. It's fine. I like it. I like it out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, again, thank you, Toast, for.
I would recommend it to people that I just talk shows about.
Okay.
If you like girls, you watch Asobi Asobase. If you like dudes, watch Grand Blue.
I mean, you can definitely do both. But
I'm trying to do a play on words here.
That's not how.
That was nowhere near a pun.
All right.
I am drawing a foil between cute girl comedy versus dude comedy here.
I don't think that's how it works. But anyways, thank you for covering that, and we should move on to our final series, which is
Spire. What did you watch? Speaking of manly dudes.
Well, I'm not going to talk about any sort of manly dude kind of thing, but I do want to talk about Happy Sugar Life. This is one of the series that I guess people have been looking out for, mainly because people are like, Hanzo Akano's playing Yandere. Oh, fuck, that kind of thing, right? Like, fucking anus clenched.
She has never played a Yandere before. This is a new role for her.
Yeah, it's actually the weird thing is this is actually being done by Isola, which is like a pretty new studio. All right, this is actually their first thing. They are working with a lot of like different, obviously studios, probably because they're a smaller scale right now, especially with Dio Media a lot. But either way, they have a lot of the usual like big names in it. This is a manga original, and it looks like a straight adaptation, horror genre. Why
is it called horror if it's called Happy Sugar Life? It looks so nice.
Yeah, so...
Wow. Truly the first piece of media to ever do that.
Yeah. So right now it starts, or the anime starts in media res. I've not read the manga yet, so please forgive me, anybody that has read the manga, if I'm like doing something, if I'm saying something dumb.
Don't worry, I got you, fam. I'm going to call you out on everything.
Yeah. It starts out in media res. Sato, the main character, or the main girl, voiced by Hanzo Akano, finds the little girl, Shio, and starts sort of living with her. And she's super happy when she lives with her inside their house, but outside she's essentially kind of like, I'll try to do anything to keep that sort of castle or that sort of home intact. So whenever you can see this sort of like contrast, whenever she's with Shio, everything's super, everything's light, the lights are on, everything's super like pink. There's like a whole bunch of light cuts to like candy falling, stuff like that, and everything's happy. But when it's like outside or when it's not related to Shio and Sato living together, everything's super dark and like, cold and gloomy, and there's stupid shit happening. So again, only 3 episodes so far. A lot of the initial episode has been sort of detailing some of the characters, but it's also like so. Some of the recent, a little like tangent I want to make is that some recent series have done this thing where it's like you have like a couple of characters and they're very, very like they're very weird and they're very deep down the rabbit hole. Like they have these like weird powers or whatever, right? And a lot of the a story or stories in those series is people like regular people with like desires coming up, meeting with those weird people and just getting fucked up by them, right? It's like, oh, I want to become rich, or like I wish I could stay forever young, and then that sort of desire ends up getting them fucked over, right? And so episodes 1 and 2 are kind of like that, where they're like weird people, like stalkers, like jealous people, like fucking like lollicoms, like just all sort of like perverse, weird people, just like floating around Sato, who's trying to make it out for herself, and Sato has to deal with them.
But
so
that doesn't mean Sato's a good person as well.
Everyone
in this series is kind of really bad.
Yeah, so
Shio.
yeah, definitely. So however, the initial part is everybody just sort of getting fucked up by Sato because they're sort of pushing their unreasonable and perverse desires on her. And then as the story goes on, a lot more development happens with Sato's sort of background of what is she doing in this house, who is she, what is her history, why does she get in contact with Shio in the first place, why does she want Shio so close to her, Shio's background, stuff like that. So it starts developing, and my guess is obviously that the backbone of horror is what this relationship with Shio and Sato is exactly, and presuming that Shio's not just there because Sato is a happy friend of hers and there might be more sinister stuff behind, then that's going to be sort of the root of how this horror thing came along. But it's trying to what I'm thinking about Happy Share Life is that it's actually okay right now. So right now it's kind of trying to do a little bit of the stuff like the unreliable narrator stuff. It's relying very heavily on first perspectives to limit information on like what exactly the plot is and stuff. But it's slowly revealing again what Shio's background is and using that to explain what Sato is doing. But again, it is juggling a lot of stuff. So it's juggling the episodic like horror stuff, like people coming up to Sato and trying to fuck with her, and then Sato's like, "No, I'm gonna fucking beat you up. I'm gonna make you regret this." Essentially that, right?
Spire, you get the joke?
What?
Shio is a salt and Sato is sugar, but their roles are actually reversed. Whoa.
Also, as a weirder name, Sato's last name is Matsusaka, and
like the mushroom.
Well, like the also the beef, and the Shio's last name is Kobe. By the way, just the thing. But anyways,
that makes sense because in order to caramelize, you need sugar, right?
I don't think that's how it works, but I was just pointing that out. But the important thing is, so as I said, they're trying to balance out a lot of stuff. They're trying to balance out the episodic horror. They're trying to balance out the central horror, which is like what the hell is Sato doing, and they're trying to link that what Sato and Shio is doing, presumably to a larger sort of moral backbone, right? So it's like, why did Sato get so fucked up in the first place, or why did Shio get so fucked up in the first place? What does this mean in terms of like human nature? I think the author is trying to aim for that.
Human nature. Oh no.
Yeah, I think the author is trying to aim for that. I'm not willing to give it my usual criticism of like, oh, it's trying too hard and it's not working out. It's slowly unpacking stuff and it's doing it an okay job right now, but I feel like it's very unstable. A lot of the how do I say this? Like, there are some like recurring characters and stuff like that, but it's like a lot of their reasonings, a lot of the supporting recurring characters like reasonings and like why they're appearing here and there, why they're doing stuff is a little bit too simplistic, or like it's just like not very reasonable, and that's becoming a little bit worrying because their interactions with Sato are the things that also reveal Sato's personality. And if those supporting members are just doing unreasonable things, then and Sato is also not being explained at a fast pace, and she's also sort of made to do seemingly unreasonable things, then it becomes a very sort of incoherent story where it's like, oh, the outside people are just doing bad things to Sato, and Sato's also doing pretty cruel things to these outside guys. And the only way to really explain away all of this is that Sato is just some sort of like crazy yandere. So I feel like it's in a sort of unstable state where it needs to start explaining why Sato is sort of the way she is right now. Not necessarily the background, but I don't know how to, it's a little bit hard because it is like this sort of like suspense horror thing. And the author does want to limit information, kind of like milk out the suspense or whatever. But I feel like he needs to start explaining more of like the personality, like why is she so fucking like crazy, and like what exactly is Sato thinking, instead of just like, oh, I'm so happy, or like, oh, I'm so angry when they interrupt me, blah blah blah. Instead of just doing that, I think the introspection needs to be a little bit more detailed without going into the history of Sato, because going into the history is the whole like exposition of what's happening in the horror plot, right? So I think the author doesn't, or I think the anime, I don't know whether it happens in the book or in the manga or not, needs to be a little bit faster paced in terms of like the central plot. But I think it's overall okay for now. It is only 3 episodes, but I am kind of looking forward to it. It makes, again, the sort of unreasonableness of things just like, not only because I'm being thrown into media res, but I'm also just like, oh, just like Sato's just fucking cruel, and then she wants to get in with Shio, and then Shio is going to explain her background, and then that background is going to tie to Sato sometime. And I'm just like, okay. So I want this to kind of unravel in a more sensical manner. But yeah, I think overall it's okay.
What other yandere series would you compare this to?
Well, the thing is,
it's no Mirai Nikki, that's for sure.
The weirdest thing is, how do I say that? It's like, it's yandere, but it's like, it's not really focusing on the yandere, which is part of the why Sato is crazy, right? It's like,
she's not crazy, but not that crazy. You're saying?
Yeah, she why is she desperate?
Isn't what Shio says? That something about she's empty but not broken?
Yeah, something like that. But it's like, the thing is, like, with the idea is that, like, with a yandere fetish, a lot of the time is like, part of how the fetish developed is that they explain why they became yandere in the first place, right? It's like, for instance, like a generic one would be like, oh, I had like a girlfriend who was like really disturbing, or like and became stalkerish, and then I broke up with her, and then she became yandere, and then this development happened, and then the girl explains that while fucking you up. So that's part of how I believe the fetish works, right? So that sort of exposition is needed to develop the yandere part of the genre, but that explanation is also related to the horror plot of this series. So as long as it is part of that horror plot, it's hard to explain it. And so the yandere part of of Happy Sugar Life isn't very well developed. She's doing violent things. And she's just like, oh, this person is fucking me up. Fuck you. And she's getting her revenge, and like she's kind of, you know, backing off people that are doing stupid stuff. But she's not explaining clearly why she's so desperately doing it for Shio.
It's
essentially,
not.
you know what I mean?
It's not yandere to the point where she's crazy. It's what's the word?
Well, she's not showing that link. She's as well. It's like she's just like, get the fuck off of me. But she's not like, there needs to be more exposition upon her and Shio and why this relationship is going on. But I understand why the author isn't doing that yet, because that's also part of the horror plot.
Is it more nihilism than yandereism? What do you think?
Right now, it's just a lot more.
It's more like
violence,
where she doesn't care about anything other than Shio.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I think to make it more yandere fetish oriented, it needs to start focusing a little bit more on why the relationship exists in the first place. So that's the important part. As for, I do kind of wish that, I don't know, I think that part, in my opinion, is going to end up being a little bit disappointing, because I think when people were like, freaking Hanazawa Kana doing yandere, everybody was just imagining some sort of like, I don't know, like some sort of like ASMR, like, or like drama CD where it's like Hanazawa Kana is just like being yandere for you, or like for the MC, which is like, yeah, Niers already, it's crazy ass thing. That sort of stuff, right? But it's very like, it's not even Yuri, it's just like it's like it's a yandere thing. Like the yandere thing is like a shell that drives the horror plot, so it's not really appealing to that fetish as much as people might think. So if you are just like, oh, it's gonna be Hanazawa Kana, it's gonna be yandere, and she's gonna fucking like fucking ASMR my fucking ears in, that's not exactly how it works. So do be warned. But I do think still that this is a pretty okay series. It's a little bit unstable in terms of how the development is going on. But if it does go on pretty well, I think it'll be one of the better series of the season. So please do check it out.
What do you think about the audio visuals? Because in the clip that I watched, I was like, these look kind of whack. They look kind of like almost like almost dated in a way.
It reminds me in a way of how Love Tyrant looked.
Yeah, actually, that is good because it doesn't have like a ton of shading and.
Yeah, so I think it is a little bit more simplified. I think a lot of it comes down to the studio's circumstances. Again, it is like a much smaller studio, and they've been kind of like subcontracting and contracting it out to like everybody under the sun, especially Dio Media. So I think it's reasonable to expect that it's not gonna be super well done, but I think it serves purpose for the most part, is what I'm gonna say. Like, I don't know. It's very it's not focusing on. I don't want to say this to like justify it, but I feel like a lot. This series is mainly just like, as long as it maintains some sort of like similar artwork, or artwork similar to the manga, A, and B, sort of it retains like a minimal like shoujo-ish almost like style, and then we can kind of run forward with the horror aspect. Then it should be fine. I think that's what they considered. And again, considering the size of the studio and their context, that's probably the best they could have come up with. But it's definitely not like a Game Works kind of thing, for sure. The opening, I wasn't too impressed with. The ED, I have not heard yet. But yeah, that's my impressions on the audio visuals. Do you guys have any questions left, or what?
How would you rate Kana Hanazawa's performance as a yandere buyer?
Is it along the lines of Plutia, except less Sado and more Sato? Oh,
I think she does a. Well, Plutia has. The issue is she has like.
Did you get my jokes, Fire?
Yes.
Good.
How do I say this? I think Hanazawa Kana does her thing. She does it. Again, the issue is.
What would you rate it out of 10? What is her?
Out of 10. That's such a stupid.
Do you think that
what does 10 even mean on that scale? Like,
out of her 10 best roles.
Super yandere.
10 being her best role and 1 being her weakest role. What number would this be?
I think it's a solid 6 or 7. She does what she.
What's an 8?
What's an 8?
Does she make a more convincing blood cell or a more convincing crazy?
That's pretty good. The thing is, okay, so
what for you? What would be her 10 role?
That's a good. I think for her 10 role, fuck. I think it might be for me. Again, it's a little bit biased.
Obviously, Nanako from Monogatari.
Fuck up. It might be the.
Is it Onodera from Nisekoi?
I'm gonna kill you. Shut the fuck up. It might be. There's one role I think I forgot. That might be the 10 role, but the other 10 role.
How could it be a 10 if you forgot?
Because I don't remember all of it.
Well, out of the ones you remember, then this is.
Yeah. Okay. So out of the ones I remember, I think the Genki Imoto from Mayochiki, I think will be one of her 10, which is a supporting role actually. But yeah, I think that's like that.
You pick that instead of Charlotte Dunois?
Charlotte is like Charlotte, like, I think if you initially like go into it and you didn't know a lot of like other Hanazawa kind of roles, you'd be like, yeah, this is a pretty solid, this is a pretty up there. But in retrospect, if you look at it again, it's a lot of it's like Hanazawa kind of running her Hanazawa kind of train, and everybody kind of getting sucked over by it, right? Which is not to say her voice isn't like some sort of global fetish. It is. That's the reason why she ended up on a fucking credit card. But she's not really like, like putting in the elbow grease, right? It's like, in this case, she does kind of, she does her standard stuff. I think in terms of like modulating her tone and like doing like a specific sort of role, I think her Nautica role is probably better in terms of like just quote unquote the creepy girl, like near yandere archetype. I think Nautica is better. But again, the issue is this one is her, at least in the initial episodes, is a lot of it's her just being more like, oh, I want to fuck these people up for interrupting my happy life with. But
what's the score, dude?
As I said, it's a solid 6 or 7.
Compared to what would be an 8 or a 5?
Cut. Can we? Okay. Can we stop with these score rankings? It's not relevant. But yeah, I would say it's the issue is it's. I think for Hanazawa Kana fans, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say, it is going to be a little bit disappointing because it is not really. Not only does it really not really cover all of the yandere fetish, but it's really not for you guys, right? It's like for the little girl or whatever. So you guys are just like, oh man, Hanazawa Kana is gonna like whisper yandere lines into my ears. That's not how it works. Basically,
you're telling me this is NTR.
As close to NTR as you're gonna get yandere NTR. But yeah, for Hanazawa Kana fans, please don't come in expecting that much. It's not like what you're expecting.
What about?
Although, from what I've seen with like Ogura Yui and stuff like that, they might end up having actually, because it's like a lot of voice actors, for instance, were just like, oh man, this role would fit when they were doing like Princess School castings, for instance. they were like, oh man, this specific role would fit Kanazawa kind of so much. Like Kane Hiroshi for example, was like mentioning that certain roles would fit her a lot. And then when she got that role, they were like, oh shit. So in my opinion, she might get that more like perverse role sometime soon.
No.
And we'll just have to see.
Hanazawa must stay pure.
I mean, they're already giving a lot of. The weird thing is they're giving a lot of perverted roles to Ogura Yui too, which is kind of whack. But I don't know. It's like they get like, for instance, in Yuragisa, right? Ogura Yui has this role where she's just like her first line was her just like licking the MC, like it was weird. And then a couple of seasons before, she had one of the roles for Hachimete no Gal, right, the Gal series. And then just before that, she had
But that character was boring.
That was irrelevant. That's not even relevant to what I'm saying. But she had. I mean, she essentially had like eroge lines in that series. You realize this, right? But she had that, and then just before that, she had like some lines on like Grand Blue Fantasy or like some other series. I forget what it was exactly, but it was. What's that? No, it might have been some other like MOBA game, but she had like a role where she like played some like super like seductive, like big boob like succubus thing that said all these like whack ass lines. So it's like they're pushing a lot of these like bigger voice actors into more like seductive roles, which is gonna be kind of weird to see, but we'll see how it unfolds. But anyways. That was my review of Happy Sugar Life. Again, it's an okay series. I think as long as it develops better, it's going to be fine. Please do check it out if you're interested. It is one of the bigger series. But again, if you're a Hana fan, please don't come in with what you think you're expecting for her Yandere role. It's not what you think. But yeah. Anyway.
It's a hard pass for me, my man.
Yeah. Sorry. I was going to for this. Sorry, but couldn't.
You had one job, Japan.
Yeah, that is true. Honestly, No, it wasn't a Neisan. It was a Ogura Yu doing a Neisan role would be pretty fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie, but it was like a lolly succubus kind of thing.
So you're saying Nier would be pretty Shi-OE about this?
I don't think that's how it works, but yes.
I don't even know what you just said.
Shield for salty. But
nice.
Anyways, we're gonna move on to the news. And we have not that much news today. A lot of it's like company stuff. First piece of news up on the list. Shonen Jump issue is being posted for free for a limited time due to the flooding in Japan. So the official site of Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine revealed on Tuesday, the site has made a digital version of this year's 32nd issue available online for free from Tuesday to July 31st. The announcement explained that Shueisha made the issue free as a quote-unquote emergency measure for those who are not able to purchase the issue due to delayed or canceled deliveries of the issue in certain areas in Japan stemming from the heavy rainfall last week. The rainfall, concentrated in western Japan, caused flooding and landslides and resulted in over 200 deaths and widespread evacuations. So please do check it out. I think you should be able to download it from overseas, right? So, I mean, if you want to check it out, please. I mean, if they're giving you free Shonen Jump stuff online, like, might as well, right? So please do check it out.
Only one issue, though? It's kind of...
I mean, it's not like they're forcing a subscription upon you, so it's like...
Yeah, but
you know what's weird?
That flooding was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's...
Like
for charity, they should just keep like giving issues to like or the flooded areas or something.
I mean, like 2 issues,
Yeah.
Something. One is just like, here's some pennies, you fucking peasants,
Bitch, yeah.
You know what's weird? Seeing Yuragi-So on Shonen Jump. That's a weird place to put that.
That's not.
I wouldn't have picked Yuragi-So to be Shonen Jump worthy material.
You realize that Toll Love Ro is Shonen Jump, right?
I mean, I get that. Cause Black
No,
Cat.
you do what?
What?
I get
No, you
I get Nisekoi.
No,
I
you
mean,
don't.
Sure.
I don't think you do, sir.
Like, but
What are you even saying?
All right,
it's not really jump material, you know. It's maybe
neither is Toll Lover if you think
maybe,
about it.
maybe weekly shonen, sure, but not jump. Jump's for the little kids, bro.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, it has far past the age where a lot of kids are really going into these convenience stores and really checking out Shonen Jump. Like, at most, it's like high schoolers, which at that point, it's already like, okay, whatever. But, anyways, please do check it out. It's available online. Second piece of news. Hiroyuki Ohashi launched a crowdfunding campaign in the Makuake website for the anime film adaptation of his quote-unquote ongak manga on Wednesday. The campaign seeks to raise 3.5 million yen, or about $31,000 to finish and edit the film by next year. The campaign will end on September 28th. So yeah. It's just like a short film based upon his, again, like ongaku manga, based around his sort of like the story of young delinquents who decide to start a rock band despite never having instruments before. So it's an interesting short. Yeah, a lot of people are doing these sorts of like crowdfunding stuff recently. In Japan, it's a lot like, I mean, like it's weird because it's like a lot of these are like entire like companies like asking for as much as money as possible. Like they're like, oh, you know, we just need like $30,000, but it's obviously gonna be like a lot of like what they need is gonna be like much larger. So, I feel like it's gonna become weirder because it's gonna become like a lot of these Japanese companies are asking for a lot, and it's gonna be like. I feel like a lot of these companies are going to start reaching like if they're going to appear in the news, like asking very sort of ridiculous amounts. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be some crowdfunding where they're just like, yeah, we just need to do this anime, and we need a Kickstarter of like $500,000, and everybody's just going to be like, what?
Yeah, remember Under the Dog? Because I do.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's again, I just hope that doesn't happen in the future again. And in the next piece of news, just some award stuff. First, Rumiko Takahashi, the famous manga creator behind stuff like Yatsura, Maison Ikoku, Rubik Theater, Rama One Half, Onpan Gospel, Inuyasha, Rinne, all of these very legendary series.
Sucks,
I mean, whether it's sex or not, they're all very known series. So she has been inducted into the Will Eisner Comic Awards Hall of Fame on Saturday. This is Takahashi's fourth time being nominated for the award, with judges previously nominating her in 2017, 2016, and 2014. And she finally got in this time again. Congratulations to her. She definitely deserves it. Very legendary manga creator. So congrats to her.
About time.
Yatta.
And the other one is the Bucheon International Fantastic Film Festival Award. PA Works and Mari Okada's Makia for the Promised Flower of Bloom's original anime film, Children's Jury Award. The festival took place from July 12th to July 22nd in Bucheon, South Korea. The film is the directorial debut of anime screenwriter Okada, blah, blah, as PA Works. She actually said in, I believe, in an interview or in like one of the related like Makia stuff, that she feels the most comfortable actually with PA Works. So I'm pretty glad she got this movie role, and hopefully she'll be able to make better works in the future too. But yeah, congratulations to her.
I hope this is actually good.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm like praising this, but I'm also like, I hope this is actually good.
Yeah, it's more like.
Also, it's kind of hard because it's like it's coming up right after in this corner stuff like Your Name, In This Corner of the World, and then most recently Fireworks.
I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
Yeah, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is pretty popular too. Fireworks came out and it was pretty big. So the issue is competing with a lot of these like heavy hitters is pretty hard in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyways, Next piece of news: Production IG opened applications for its first Production IG Indies Anime Award on Monday. The contest is aimed at uncovering talented new faces for the industry, though it is open to professionals as well as amateurs. Oh, that's a bad idea. That's okay.
Why would you open it to professionals? It's not even fair.
Yeah. It's like what about comparing these people who are actually able to make a stable living versus these people who have to split their ramens into 4 ramen pieces into 4? That seems okay. But
whatever.
Entries will stream in a quote-unquote indie section on Production IG's Anime Beans app, marking Production IG's first time streaming indie anime. Viewers will be able to show their support for the entries they like by commenting or by using the applause feature. Viewer support will be taken into account when judges choose the winners. Works that they very well will be upgraded into an quote-unquote official work on the app, and blah blah blah. There will be one grand prize winner who will receive 1 million yen in prize money, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Yeah, so this is part of Production IG's sort of series of content called Project Big Ship, and a lot of this is sort of has the dual role of both, helping out, animators who are doing well, good animators who like want to become bigger, and also expanding sort of IG's umbrella of like umbrella of like companies that are all doing different stuff, right? It's like some of them are doing like these like tablet manga stuff, some of them are doing the anime, obviously like stuff like Production IG and ZBEC, so on and so forth, right? So they're trying to expand that at the same time, so this works out. So this will be pretty interesting. I do appreciate that they're, growing the talent, right? Having these competitions and giving out money for that, stuff like that, giving more opportunities. I kind of wish they didn't add in the professionals, because then
it seems kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, but we'll see how this goes. Final of non-person news here. This is also related to IG Port. IG Port, parent company of animation studios, Production IG, Wit Studios, ZBEC, Signal, MD, and publisher Magard, announced its 5-year management plan on July 13th, which revealed that it is planning a quote-unquote new major work for a worldwide release with a projected completion date of May 2021. So
planning ahead there, huh?
Yeah, so it's obviously going to be a multimedia kind of series, right? Else it's not going to be 3 years in the making, right? And it wouldn't be announced by the umbrella company, right? But it's very interesting.
Umbrella.
When's the Japan Olympics stuff again?
2020.
2020, huh? Interesting. So it's not related to the Olympic stuff, I guess, but
could be. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah, but
delay. Yeah. Looking back upon the Olympics kind of series.
Yeah.
What if we won? But
what if?
Yeah. But I feel like it's going to be a very big project. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's not something that really tries to just focus on whatever they're developing in terms of like device and like digitalization, and it's like an actual like multimedia series based around some sort of like anime. You know what I mean? If it's just like, oh, we're gonna release this along with a new format to read or tablet manga, I'm just gonna be like, okay, well, whatever.
What if it's Production IG the anime?
No, they're gonna run a crowdfunding, so then you can see them make anime that turns the artists into anime.
Whoa, that's meta, dude.
They're gonna stream themselves doing like you know how it's like a while back, or like these happen like every like year or so, but it's like they always have this like one anime that's like being live animated, right, by the actress.
Yeah.
So like they're live streaming them like actually animating it as they go along.
What if they crowdfund an anime about crowdfunding an anime?
Oh shit! I mean, no, there's already manga about fucking becoming a virtual YouTuber, right? So this is only one more step. Oh my god! But yeah, anyways, it's gonna be pretty interesting. It's very long, like far ahead of the future, but we'll see how it goes.
Nier, it's on you. It's on you. I believe in you.
All right.
Okay. In terms of people news, we just have two pieces of news. First is the official website of Kodansha's Aori Tori Bunko label announced on Tuesday that illustrator Kaori Fujita passed away July 15th at 6:45 a.m. to pancreatic cancer at the age of 47 years old. So she helped to illustrate most notably Kuromajo-san ga Toru and some other series stuff like Majigaka Monogatari, Kuromajo no Kishi, Cubado, stuff like that. She also provided the main illustrations for Suikoden 5. So, please condolences to her friends and family. And also, actor and voice actor Fujio Tokita passed away on Wednesday due to a brain hemorrhage at the age of 81. And he did a theatrical. He was part of the theatrical troupe. He did a lot of stuff like narration for older series like Manga Nihon Mukashi Banashi, Uncle Palm, Studio Ghibli's Castle in the Sky, Kukuru Unicorn and the Island of Magic, stuff like that. So, again, condolences to his friends and family. Before we go on to shoutouts and callouts, I just kind of wanted to mention something where it's like, there was like recent piece of news about like how fireworks, the movie called Fireworks received from the side or the bottom, also known as Uchiage Hanami, Shita kara miru ka, Iko kara miru ka. So that's the Japanese name for it. And it was in the US and it earned approximately 522,000, stuff like that. And then there was another article right below it on Anime News Network that was just like, excuse me, current state of anime films explains Mirai's reduced earnings. It was talking about how Mirai no Mirai, which is like a famous director's new film, earned 40% less than his previous work, Hosoda. The director's name is Mamoru Hosoda's previous work, The Boy and the Beast. And in response, the Real Sound website's Koremasu Uno decided to discuss a few possible contributing factors. So, essentially, the general idea that the main idea that they throw out is that I'll just read it. So, Studio Ghibli films, especially those of Hayao Miyazaki, dominated the list of such Toho works up until the release of When Marnie Was There in 2014. Of course, Miyazaki works through the release of his most recent film, The Wind Rises in 2013, took precedence above all else in that Toho release slot. Such anime films are now inevitably evaluated in terms of their status as quote-unquote post-Hayao Miyazaki works. So, major people began to hit the anime film industry from summer to fall of 2016. It talks about the success of Shin Godzilla and Kimi no Nawa, stuff like that. I mean, what I don't understand is that, yes, the stuff that came out is like Makoto Shinkai and like Hideaki Anno, like being like, making Shin Godzilla and Kimi no Nawa was big. And you could be like, oh, well, it's Makoto Shinkai and Hideaki Anno. But, I mean, there's no way that something like Kimi no Nawa, like Your Name, which is quite clearly a very, very, like, anime series, right? Like, Shin Godzilla, Hideaki Anno is kind of like one thing, but, like, people across the world are looking at, oh, it's Makoto Shinkai. I gotta watch it. You know what I mean? It didn't become a global phenomenon because of Makoto Shinkai. It became a global phenomenon because Kimi no Nawa became such, a big thing, and it almost became a meme and stuff like that, right? So, what I don't get is like, what this sort of like complaint about this whole like, fucking now we're in the post Hayao Miyazaki like era, and now if we're not like Makoto Shinkai, if we're not Hideaki Anno, we're just gonna fail. You know what I mean?
What about Heaven's Feel?
Well,
What
I mean,
about Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale?
Well, let's put that aside because those are parts of bigger series that people kind of there's already this core built up. But the problem is these people, these directors that are not Hideaki Anno and Makoto Shinkai, are complaining that in this era where kind of after Miyazaki dominated and like stopped producing stuff like that, it became this thing where it's like supposedly unless like you're making this huge hit with like stuff like Shin Godzilla or Kimi no Na wa, you're getting kind of fucked. Is essentially how it goes, right?
Are you saying people?
What are they asking for then? Are they asking to be more recognized? Because like,
No, I
maybe
think
they should make
saying,
more isekai movies.
They're saying that the reason why they're not earning as much and they're just like blah 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 is because they're in this post Miyazaki era where, again, unless it's like a huge hit, you're like just left behind in the dirt or something.
So they're saying you need some sort of a.
You say that about any movie, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you're making a hit, like you're gonna make less money than the hits, right? Like that's just how it is.
I think the issue is just like, oh well, in some sort of like idea of like this post Miyazaki era, people are not attuned, I guess, to like anime series again, unless it's some sort of like the super like meme global hit kind of thing. They
don't want original anime. They want stuff with an established franchise already.
It's just kind of weird to me because it's like, that in like a niche field like this, and even with like films and like global presence, widening, anime films are still relatively niche compared to stuff like live action, like fucking Hollywood level production movies. You know what I mean? So to expect that people are going to get the standard sort of elevated treatment, even in like the modern era, is kind of hard, right? And it's like Miyazaki created this sort of like, well, it was kind of like Steve Jobs and how he created this like cult at Apple, right? It was similar to that, but it was clearly wasn't going to extend to the rest of anime films, right? It's like whatever Miyazaki did was Miyazaki himself. He contained this sort of magic, but once he stopped doing it, it wasn't going to magically transfer on to Hosoda or Shinkai or whoever, right? They had to kind of make it on their own, right? So I think it is unfortunate that maybe people aren't going to be like really willing to commit to some sort of random anime film unless it's like a global popular phenomenon. But I think that's sort of how we should have expected it in the first place, right? It's like Miyazaki was an exception that proved the rule in a sense, right?
I don't know. I think.
Do you think he truly set up something for anime filmmakers to follow, or to not to follow necessarily, but be like, oh, well, now that Miyazaki opened up everybody's eyes, I can have an easier time. Do you think it was like that, or do you think he was just like blip, or not a blip, but it's like he was the exception?
Miyazaki created a brand. He didn't.
Oh yeah.
He didn't create some sort of
market.
Like he didn't punch some hole into the Western market that anime could like flood into, right? He created a brand within the global market that everybody could recognize. That doesn't mean Hosoda himself should know this the most because like you look at his films that he's directed, right? He has The Wolf Children, which blew up. It's easily his biggest film. It's easily his most recognizable film. And then you have his second most popular film, which is The Boy and the Beast, arguably. And then everything else he's done is like, oh, he worked on that? Huh. Like people don't know who Hosoda is because none of his movies were like massive things, right? Like even The Wolf Children is widely known mostly within people who already like are into anime, right?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
you know, Wolf Children is some fucking household name, like like just Studio Ghibli in general, right? So I don't know. I think Hosoda's kind of
Expecting too much, maybe.
I think maybe Wolf Children kind of inflated his ego, and then
I should be
then,
getting this right, exactly.
and then he made some movies, and then he kind of got tempered a bit, and then he made Boy and the Beast, and that blew up
Right.
again. And I think he's a little on a little bit of a
To be
high
fair,
horse
he's
right
not the
now.
one. To be fair, he's not the one making the comments. It's other people that are making the comments, right? But I think other people are jumping the gun, is what you're saying. Yeah, other people are jumping the gun, being like, "Oh, and this like fucking Miyazaki left nothing for us." Like we're not here to say that we like Miyazaki, but like you shouldn't be like, because Miyazaki is some sort of like thief in the night, like stealing all the anime. Like, that's not how it works, right? It's
I mean, you know, like I said, Miyazaki created a brand, and I'm not saying that
it was the best brand or something. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say him doing that was like there was no positives for the overall anime market. But
it wasn't gonna carry everybody, even when Miyazaki was
say that Miyazaki's films alone created a market,
a stable market.
Yeah, like in not even like just the West, I guess, not even a global market, but like just the Western market. I think that's giving Miyazaki a little too much credit.
Right. It's very kind of like he's the easiest one to blame, but clearly that's not how that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he made some iconic movies that, you know, people all around the world know, but you know, just because those movies happen to be anime,
it doesn't mean people are like, yeah, fucking anime.
Yeah, I love anime now. You know, they were just good movies.
Yeah, like people don't always go like, oh, you like Spirited Away, right? Let's fucking watch Kimi no Na wa. That's not how it works, right? It's like you watch Kimi no Na wa because it keeps coming up on the internet, and your parents or your friends are just like, hey, what is this? What is this anime thing? But yeah. Hopefully the anime industry gets more recognition in the future. I definitely think it will, and it will widen up, especially with stuff like, especially with not necessarily because of these live action things that are coming through, because use of the live action things are coming through. Like people are always going to be like, wait, why did Hollywood take such an interest in Akira and like Battle Angel Alita and like all this stuff in the first place? And then they'll maybe check out these other anime films.
Yeah, so that's like Dragon Ball Evolution or Heaven's Feel Part 2.
Yeah, but what I'm hoping is that through this news of like people being like, oh, why is Hollywood investing so much into these anime stories? They'll check out some of the other anime stories and they'll enjoy it, and hopefully that'll widen up the market, as well as, you know, similar things happening in China. China is a very, very big market for these sorts of movies, so hoping for that. But yeah, with that, we are done with the news. Now we are on to shoutouts and callouts. Everybody gets one shoutout and one callout here. And a shoutout is just something that you want to praise, 10 out of 10, blah, blah. And a callout is something that you want to insult, just fucking blow out of the water, rage about, and both of them can be about pretty much anything, whether it's person, place, or thing, so on and so forth. So yeah, how shall I start? I guess how do we do this here? I guess I'll start here. Fucking, I'm going to start with actually. Yeah, I'm gonna start out with I had it in my mind, but I forgot it. So Dark, actually, fuck it. I'm fucking throwing away my responsibility here.
We're stroking out right now.
Yeah, exactly. Dark.
What? I'm so. Oh my god.
My shout out and call out is to. Yeah. You got
okay,
it?
so
okay.
Yeah, I'll go. So my call out is going to be to. Oh fuck! What was my call? All right, so never mind. I don't have Toast.
All right.
Go.
My shout out.
I forgot already. I forgot my call out.
All right. My shout out is to Fate Last Encore. Fate Extra Last Encore. Or some people call it Fate Extra Last Order. But Last Order is actually Grand Order. Anyway, you look nice.
Okay, and your call out?
That's all. That's my shout out to Last Encore.
I said your call out. Nice. What's your call out?
My call out is to Fate Extra Last Encore.
Okay. 4?
There's not. You're making Nero carry the entire story by herself, and while she's more than willing to do it, it's unfair to her. This is why you should have had female Hakuno.
Okay.
Rin does her job. Ronnie's. We don't speak about Ronnie.
Okay.
But you're making Saber carry the whole thing. That's unfair. Who do I blame for this?
Yeah. How do I say this? I guess.
Fire, you're ready. You got your shout out and call out ready.
Yeah. My call out is to. Well, I'm gonna do my call out first. My call out is to real life. I've been getting hit with some random stuff recently. I don't like the pace I'm getting hit with. Call outs to that.
Are you getting hit with blunt weapons or bladed weapons?
I'm about to get knocked out right now. But my shout out is to my shout out is honestly to. I don't want to say this.
Just do it.
This is a safe zone, Spire. You can't say it if it violates the safe zone.
My shout out is to Nekoni EX Heart 2 because I enjoyed it more than I thought. Because I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So shout outs to this. And the ending was really fucking stupid. And
did they all become the shinobis?
Yes, they all
shinyabis that they wanted to be. I don't know.
Ninin.
Nyans.
But anyways, the ending was all the cheesy shit that nobody actually deserves. But it was degenerate, and I enjoyed it. So shout outs to that. Anyways, yeah. Shout out to Asobase.
Call it Spire for being a degenerate. Come on, not really. Shout outs to One Fest. One Fest is
yes.
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some pretty cool stuff this year. Pretty exciting. There's no I haven't seen very many sabers, so that's nice on my wallet. Usually there's a lot of them. But not that many this year, which is good. Callouts to I don't know. Shit. Callouts to
I like pooping too. It gets the toxins out of your body.
Callouts to the fact that I need new glasses because I went to go get my eyes checked today, and they said I need new glasses.
Get contacts.
So I am slowly becoming blind.
Get contacts.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Why not near? They're more. They're more. Those people with the crazy eyes. You don't want mystic eyes when you
Sharingan.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay. You don't want to pay $200 for Sharingan contacts that are prescription that you're gonna have to throw away after 30 days. And they're gonna be stiff as fuck because they're 30-day contacts.
You mean throw away after the Naruto /
After I kill my best friend.
No. you're gonna have to throw away after after the Naruto and My Hero Academia orgy at your nearest anime con.
Yeah, I've got so many anime cons happening near me, dude.
That's true. But anyways, thank you here and Dark. Shoutouts, callouts.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a crafty boy and squeeze in 2 callouts, but within the rules. There's a loophole, you see.
Okay.
So
I will allow it.
I'm calling out people who go to anime cons and ask creators shit like, which characters that you made do you ship? When you ask the My Hero Academia creator which characters he ships, you might be able to assume that it could just be the characters that are already romantic pairings in the show. You know,
Actually,
I'm just going out on a limb, like that's a possibility.
He wants it to be ripped apart.
Yeah, you know, it's a possibility that maybe the fact that the main character of the show isn't gay in the show is because the creator didn't make them gay. Baffling idea to wrap your head around. I know people weren't able to do it for Sherlock, and they sure as hell can't do it for anime, so...
That's why they coined the phrase,
so call out to that.
No shit, Sherlock.
No ship, Sherlock, you know?
Yeah.
Can't ship. Yeah, so call out to that. Shout out to the more vocal part, I guess, or I guess, you know, in general, the more vocal parts of like an MMO's community. Or just really a games community that actively tries to tell developers that this isn't the route to go for a game in a reasonable manner. Because I see it a lot with World of Warcraft now, where and some other MMOs, where the developers basically go, hey, we're just going to restrict you for no reason. Like, you know, in previous parts of the game, when you were in a dungeon, you could change your armor to suit the encounter. Next expansion, you're just not going to be able to do that. No one really knows why. People call it elitist. There are literally ways in to create armor sets to quickly switch them for that exact reason. So that's fun.
Is it buff swapping? Or is it like...
No, it's literally just like if, let's say I have a stat that makes me better at AoE and a stat that makes me better at single target. Obviously, when we're on trash fights, you switch to the AoE stats. When you're on a single target boss fight, you switch to the single target fight. The problem is that when you restrict that, when you go into a certain type of content, any class that outperforms in all situations begins to be the dominant class entirely. If you have a class that's only good at single target, someone's still going to take the class that's slightly worse at single target, but still good at AoE and survivability at the same time. And there's just no way you're ever going to outperform that class. Because at the peak, that class will still outperform you, even if you're at your peak.
Nice.
So a lot of people are actually having decent discussions about that. But nothing will ever change. It does. But shout outs to people actually talking about it rather than, you know, people just being able to say something like, oh, that's elitist, and the other people just basically sitting back and saying, like, actually trying to solve the problem rather than acknowledging the other vocal part of the community that's wrong, to say the least, about where people stand and why they stand where they stand.
Okay.
That's my double call out.
Okay. All right, then. With that, we are done with the podcast. Again, thank you all for joining us. This episode was a little bit slow. We'll probably pick up the pace once more of these series get developed. But yeah, actually, next episode is really episode 100, huh?
Yeah.
Are we doing the thing?
But
We'll discuss it a little bit more later, but I think we're gonna try to make episode 100 a special episode. I don't actually have anything planned right now. Oh, I know I have some ideas actually. That's a lie.
We should just stop.
Just before 99 or just before 100. Like
Yeah,
not actually have 100.
we should just quit. This is the last episode.
Yeah. Sorry guys, we're out.
Reboot.
Reboot. Yeah.
Episode 1. We're gonna rebrand. We're gonna reboot the whole thing.
We're season 2. We're season 2.
Season 2.
No. We're not even season 2. Special 1 or OVA 1.
Oh shit.
We're gonna be four colon player Animecast.
Period.
and then we had like the tildes that like surround like the subcaption, the subheading.
Oh,
2. Yeah. But yeah, anyways. So episode 100, I have a couple of ideas. We're all gonna try to decide a little bit, but we're gonna try to make episode 100 something a little bit special. Maybe we'll still try to cover some of the anime stuff, but we'll talk about what happens and we'll talk about what happens here. But anyways, thank you all for watching us. Again, the viewers here as well as the listeners out there. Check us out here on twitch.tv/4PlayAnimecast, where we do this every other Saturday starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media. And follow us here, follow us on our social media, as well as our website at 4PlayerAnimecast.moe, on Facebook, 4PlayerAnimecast, and our Twitter handle at 4PPAnimecast, all with starting from the number 4. And yeah, next time it'll be episode 100. Check out there, and we'll see you next time.